Welcome to the Deep Dive. We grab a stack of sources and pull out the key insights nice and fast for you. Today, we're getting into a really unique story, the deadly life of Diana Penn.
Yeah, it's quite a mix.
It really is. It blends, high-stakes Cold War spycraft with,
Yeah.
well, the very down-to-earth reality of wartime rural England. It's an unusual collision.
And the premise is just fantastic. You have Diana Penn. She's elderly, incredibly competent, a long-serving MI6 agent, very emotionally detached. She dies.
Right.
But instead of, the end, she gets snapped right back to December 1944
Wow.
into her younger self working as a land girl
Yeah.
in the Cheviot Hills, Northumberland. So, total shift.
So the mission for us, and for you listening, is really to understand how this second chance works, and crucially how a lifetime spent being detached, being efficient, actually becomes a liability. She has to learn connection to change fate.
Exactly. And this whole thing is set within this larger fictional world, Middle Falls universe, which explores these themes of redemption, impossible second chances. But here it's transplanted into this incredibly detailed 1940s British setting. You've got rationing, blackouts, the whole land army experience. It's very specific.
Okay, let's unpack Diana herself first. The older Diana. The sources describe her visually, don't they?
They do. Silver hair, pulled back, sensible cardigan, supermarket glasses. Looks unassuming.
But the description of the lines around her eyes.
Yeah, from squinting into foreign suns, that tells you everything. Decades of intelligence work. Vienna, Budapest, Prague, Cairo.
Places where being detached and efficient is how you survive. That's her core identity.
Clinical distance, precisely. And then, bang, she's dropped into 1944 Cheviot Hills.
Such contrast.
Massive. Suddenly, this master spy is dealing with land girl duties, mucking out, apparently wrestling with a cow named Bertha.
Birth of the cow, right.
And the realities of wartime rationing. Tiny amounts of tea, sugar, fuel. It's this immediate jarring shift from global espionage to, well, local gossip and farm chores.
And the sources really paint that wartime atmosphere vividly. You mentioned the Cheviot Hills. Even the place names sound so specific.
Oh, they're great. Fanny Street, Whitmawatma Gate. They ground it instantly.
Yeah.
But also these broader details, wildlife coming back because there's no one to work the land, park benches, railings, all gone melted down for munitions.
Windows taped up against bomb blasts.
Exactly. And even the local home guard exercises led by P.C. Aldridge are sort of endearingly shambolic.
Which the hyper-competent Diana must have just loved.
Oh, you can imagine her internal eye roll, pure disdain. But the critical thing is, she arrives with knowledge.
The future knowledge.
Decades of it. She knows who's going to die, Arthur Hayes, Trevor Whitaker. Their fates are sealed in her memory.
She knows about Ellen Wilson disappearing too, right? And Mr. Hayes' suicide attempt.
Yep. All laid out for her. You'd think, okay, she's a spy, she has the intel, problem solved.
Just make a few anonymous warnings. Send a letter.
That's what her training would suggest, efficiency, detachment.
Yep.
But her initial thought is actually quite chilling.
What's that?
Basically, why bother? She thinks there's no point in forming attachments to people who would fade into irrelevance.
Oof.
Cold, deeply cynical. It's that professional isolation becoming a barrier. She tries to treat it like an operation, analyzing the timeline without engaging emotionally. And, well, the universe or whatever is running this show doesn't let her.
Which brings us to the mechanics of this loop. It's not just one chance.
No, not at all. And the trigger is almost comical.
There for the cow again?
Birth of the cow.
Yeah.
So Diana finds out that if she dies in 1944, maybe gets kicked by Bertha, maybe something else is not game over.
It resets.
Resets back to the same morning, December 1944. She has to live it again and again.
Like Groundhog Day, but maybe less funny and more existentially demanding.
Definitely. It forces her to confront the same people, the same impending tragedies until she learns the lesson, until she changes her approach.
And it's not just random chance. There are entities involved, aren't there? These watchers.
Yeah, right. Marta and Bertelia. They're observing her using this device called the Pyxis.
The temporal focus tool.
Something like that. And their goal is interesting. It's not about cosmic justice. Not really. They're collecting everyday emotions.
Emotions, like as a resource.
Apparently so. Joy, sorrow, love, connection. These are needed to power something called the machine. Diana's emotional rigidity or detachment, that's not producing what they need.
So her personal failing is also a systemic failure for them. She's a glitch.
Precisely. She keeps trying to solve this emotional puzzle with spy tactics, and it keeps failing. The loop keeps resetting.
Until the Watchers decide a bigger intervention is needed.
Yeah, they see her rigid patterns, her inability to break free from that detachment. They realize the problem isn't just the 1944 scenario, it's deeper. It's Diana herself.
So they push her back further.
Much further. They reset her not to December 44, but to September 1940. Bethnal Green, London.
During the Blitz.
Specifically, Battle of Britain Day, just before the German bomb hits her house and kills her mother, Eleanor.
Wow. Okay, so that's the origin story.
That's the core trauma, the event that shaped the original Diana. The source describes it as the root of the hardness, the isolation, the obsessive focus on duty. It all started there.
So her new mission isn't just saving Arthur or Ellen in 44. It's saving her mother in 40, fixing the foundational wound.
Exactly. And it's incredibly hard. Because Eleanor Penn, her mother, is just like Diana would become. Stubborn, fiercely dutiful.
Refuses to leave London despite the danger.
Absolutely. Believes that running away isn't the answer. Duty above all else, even survival. Diana can't just order her out or trick her.
The old methods won't work.
No. The only way she succeeds is by finally dropping the spy persona, the efficiency mask. She has to be vulnerable.
She tells her mother she loves her, something she never did in the original timeline.
That raw, honest emotion, that's what breaks through Eleanor's resistance. It's not a tactic, it's genuine connection. And that's the moment everything truly shifts for Diana.
Okay, so saving her mother unlocks something in Diana. She learns vulnerability works where detachment failed. How does this change her approach back in 1944?
It completely reframes her strategy. She moves from just observing and predicting to actively, empathetically engaging. She still uses her intelligence, but now it's guided by care.
Let's take Arthur Hayes. She knows his unit is walking into an ambush, a rigged bridge over the Meuse River. She can't just send a warning telegram, right? Too suspicious.
Right. So she gets clever, but in a different way. She starts writing letters home to Arthur's father, Mr. Hayes, knowing he'll share them with Arthur.
And in these letters?
She embeds warnings disguised as fictional travel stories. One story describes a bridge collapsing due to, erosion and hidden structural problems. Very veiled.
Almost like dropping hints in code, but literary code.
Exactly. It's her spycraft adapted. And Arthur reads it, gets suspicious, insists they scout the bridge properly.
And they find the explosives.
You find the explosives. She saves him and his entire unit, not with a direct order, but with a carefully crafted, empathetic piece of indirect communication.
Amazing. What about Mr. Hayes, Arthur's father? She knew he was headed for suicide after Arthur's death in the original timeline.
Yes, on Boxing Day, a point of profound grief and failure. So Diana doesn't wait for the tragedy.
She intervenes earlier.
Proactively. On Christmas Day, she finds him, knowing he'd be preparing, cleaning his gun. But instead of just stopping him physically, she brings him into community.
Oh.
She connects him with Mrs. Whitaker, who's also grieving her son, Trevor. She facilitates a shared moment of grief, pulling him out of his isolation.
So preventing the suicide through connection, not just confrontation.
Precisely. And there's physical proof of this change, too, involving a gold bangle.
Ah, Mr. Hayes' bangle. Tell us about that.
In her first life, the detached one, Diana received the bangle after Arthur's death. A symbol of loss, really.
Right.
But in the new successful timeline, where Arthur survives, that bangle goes to Jenny.
Who Arthur marries.
Exactly. It becomes a symbol of continuity, of family legacy restored, of happiness. It physically represents the timeline branching towards hope because of Diana's actions.
That's a powerful symbol. So the connections she builds literally alter the fate of objects and legacies.
Absolutely. It's not just about preventing deaths, it's about building a different kind of future. And this applies to other relationships, too. Ellen Wilson, for example.
The one who disappeared.
Diana figures out early on that Mr. Hollister, this local man, has a predatory interest in Ellen. He uses her archaeology skills and some story about stolen heirlooms as a cover.
For what Diana suspects is something much darker.
Yes. And now, being engaged rather than just observing, she can step in and protect Ellen from whatever Hollister was planning.
It's not all life and death interventions, though, is it? There's local drama, too. Nancy Robbins.
Oh, yes. The town gossip. There's immediate friction, a rivalry, mostly over the attention of Flight Lieutenant Jim Crawford.
Another layer of complexity.
But Diana has an advantage, future knowledge. She knows about Nancy's secret affair with Sergeant Thompson.
Which gives her leverage.
It totally changes the dynamic. It's not about overt threats, but understanding the hidden currents lets Diana navigate that hostility differently. Small-town politics met with intelligence insight.
And Jim Crawford himself. He's not just any airman, is he? There's something more there.
Definitely feels that way. Diana recognizes him. She remembers seeing him decades later, 1962, in a Vienna cafe during one of her own operations.
So he might be like her, a traveler, or connected to the Watchers.
It's strongly implied. He's too calm, too observant, and there's this immediate, deep connection between them. They both understand the cost of war, the weight of knowledge.
Leading to stolen kisses and a different kind of emotional risk for Diana.
A huge one. It underscores the central conflict for her. The pull between her old life's duty and this new imperative to connect, to feel, to maybe even love.
So let's fast forward. The war ends. Diana has successfully changed things, saved people. Does she go back to her old life?
She does join the service MI6 training at Ashford Manor, the path she was always meant for. But crucially, she doesn't sever the connections she made. That's the big difference.
She keeps those friendships. Jenny, Arthur.
Yes. And her relationship with Jim continues, though it's complicated.
How so?
Their assignments keep them apart. The classic ships passing in the night scenario. Prague, Budapest, Cyprus, Cairo. They're often in the same cities, but on different missions.
A bittersweet reality for two people in their line of work.
Very. There's the sense they deserve more quiet time together, but duty always called. Yet that underlying affection and understanding remains until his death in 1982.
So she manages to build a life that integrates both sides, the professional duty and the personal connections.
That's the ultimate success. She finds a balance. Jenny and Arthur marry, have a child, build the life Diana helped save. Jim remains a constant, albeit often distant presence.
And Diana herself, where does she end up?
Eventually she retires. And she retires to Willow Farm, the cottage in the Cheviot Hills. It was bequeathed to her by Mrs. Whitaker.
Back where it all started.
Back where the transformation happened. She finds peace there, living a life enriched by the emotional landscape she finally allowed herself to cultivate. She fulfilled the promise of that second chance.
So the core insight for you listening, it seems, is pretty clear.
Undeniable, I think. Diana had all the knowledge, all the tactical brilliance from a lifetime as a spy, but it was useless on its own.
It couldn't change the past.
Not until she embraced the emotional side. The willingness to be vulnerable, to connect, to actually care. That was the key that unlocked her ability to make a difference. Shedding that professional isolation was everything.
She had to fix herself first, essentially. Resolve that core trauma from her mother's death, the source of her emotional paralysis.
Right. By healing that, she could finally use her skills effectively. Intelligence guided by empathy. That's the powerful combination she discovered.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe something for you to reflect on.
Diana's journey was about changing herself as much as changing events. So, consider your own life. Is there a deeply held belief, maybe a defining regret from your past, that if you could truly confront it, truly change your relationship to it, might fundamentally alter your own future, your own connections?
That's the challenge, isn't it? The one Diana faced, and maybe one we all grapple with in different ways.
It really is. Food for thought.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Diana Penn's extraordinary second life. We'll catch you next time.